All right, we're back with Morning Brew and Friends. We got more friends joining us this morning. We got Tom Sanderson from Albuquerque, the magazine, one of the staff writers over there. And you got the new issue on your hands here.
I sure do, and I got two questions for you, Dan, real quick.
Shoot.
You know, as our readers know, you used to be the editor-in-chief of Albuquerque magazine.
Absolutely.
Do you miss us?
Oh, absolutely. I was going to ask how all my old friends are doing over there.
Yeah, excellent.
Yes,
excellent.
of
We
course.
miss you as well. And
Well,
plus, do you like coffee?
I've never had coffee. I don't.
Can you believe
I don't know what he's talking about. I hate
I have
coffee.
no idea. No. I'm a
Almond.
coffee junkie, and everybody at the magazine knows that I was the guy at the Keurig machine every day, like getting cup
You get a separate one
after
for you,
cup
just a
after
separate
cup.
Keurig.
Right. I
And-
picked up where you left off. And
Right.
actually, this issue really picks up and goes and runs with coffee. I mean, all the local roasters here.
We were talking. Yeah, I guess you guys didn't really touch on the new Starbucks drink.
Right.
But we're curious about it. You had it.
I had it. I'm trying to remember the name. It's like a white foam. I think it was called a white foam. And I had it because social media, you know, on the Book of Faces. Everyone was saying, oh, you got to try it, you got to try it. I think and it was good. It was light. It was almost too light. I think I like something muddy almost in my coffee. I want something kind of hard.
Did you guys rank coffee by like darkness to lightness to
did,
strength?
actually.
So if he wants a big, strong, muddy coffee, where would he go for the best?
You know
One in a cup.
Other than the Morning Brew, where we make the strongest, muddiest coffee.
Strong coffee, by the way.
Right, you have to look around town a little bit, but there are places, right? We actually did a section in the coffee feature where we interviewed local notables and their go-to drink, right? And Erica Vikings is this crazy drink from Satellite Coffee, and it's got like 4 shots of espresso in it.
That
Just
makes
a
sense.
red
If
eye.
you've met Erica
Yeah,
Viking, you would definitely say she's got 4
She's
shots.
pretty high strung.
Yeah, you probably met her. How about you? What is your go-to drink, Dan?
You know, it's actually the grande half calf, which is like the perfect thing. It's like the medium half and half is like my favorite thing. 'Cause it's like a session beer of coffee. You can sit there and you can drink it all day.
Right.
You know, the half calf is that way.
Yep, you can be like a connoisseur. We try to get people in that mindset with this issue too. It's like an educational primer, but also we have a little bit of fun with it, right?
Right.
You know, how your roast compares to how much caffeine is left in the coffee after it's roasted.
Right, and people think that it is the darker the coffee, the more caffeine, and that's the absolute wrong way to think about it. Actually, the lighter the roast, the more caffeine is in your coffee.
It's not like beer. I think it's beer that gets everybody confused, right?
Right. I think the darker the beer, generally, the more alcohol.
Right.
It's a general rule, but in coffee, it's certainly the opposite of that. The darker the roast, it actually roasts all of that away. Did you talk about how, like, the difference between boiling coffee and just heating up the water versus boiling it, or did you go that deep into the?
You know what? We try not to get too deep, but you do
It
raise
can
a
be
good
inside
point.
baseball pretty quickly when you start, like, when you go specific. Yeah. How many coffee shops are there in Albuquerque?
You know what? There are a very decent number. I think I interviewed about 27 people for this one feature. Yeah, and probably a good 10 of those were micro roasters, you know, ones that do local roasting. In fact, via Miriam, they have complete control over their supply chain of coffee. They are
the guys downtown here who have a little shop called the Brew, and they are brothers from Colombia.
Right.
This is amazing. They own their own coffee farm. They have their roaster here in town, and then they have their own little coffee shop here. They got a second coffee shop on the way, but completely top to bottom vertically integrated coffee shop.
You know what? You probably could have written this feature, actually.
It was quoted in there, right?
There actually is a fun one in this. My buddy Adam, and he's a relatively new writer at Albuquerque, the magazine, and he actually has his first big feature. So props to Adam for getting a chance to write his very first big, large story. It's all about the 60th anniversary of the crash of the TWA airplane in the mountains, which is pretty awesome. It's an amazing story.
Yeah, TWA Flight 260 was a foggy morning, and they ran into the side of the Sandias, and
that's it.
There's still some speculation on what really happened because this was back, you know, in the 1950s when aviation was really taking off.
No pun intended.
No pun intended, right?
Well, fun a little bit intended.
Right.
Yeah, God, I couldn't help myself, right?
But our buddy Adam, but our buddy Adam there at the magazine, finally for the first time, he got a chance to really dive deep into something. I was talking to him the other day about it, and it's cool when a writer that you know gets a chance to really explore something deep and something deep in Albuquerque lore like that. It's great
Absolutely.
fun.
You can see it from the tram too, like the actual wreckage. It's still there.
Right.
It's actually it's been more than 50 years, so it's a historic site now. So it's illegal to move the any of the wreckage, right? So yeah, it's really cool. It's a really nice piece of Albuquerque history, like you said. And yeah, you should read about it in Albuquerque magazine, February issue.
Did you Seahawks or Patriots?
That's a tough one. I went to the gym last night, and it was a ghost town, so I was thinking, hey, the Super Bowl should happen all the time. Got all the equipment to myself. I was really pulling for the Seahawks. You know, I'm kind of a big Richard Sherman fan, so, you know, he's controversial, but he sent out this classy tweet afterwards. He said, hey, it's nice to have the chance. You know, maybe better luck next year. So,
right. Well, they got there twice in a row. I mean, no one can say they're a bad team. You know,
right?
Like,
absolutely.
You know? And I was amazed at the quarterback. I mean, he was just running everything. It was a great game that way.
Katy Perry too.
Right?
You guys have probably already talked all about that.
No, we didn't talk about Katy Perry.
The halftime. But I thought, in my mind, the real winner was Missy Elliott.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like Missy killed it.
She killed it.
She's one of my old school favorites. I love that. I grew up on a lot of that hip hop.
Was that playing during your prom, Dan, or what?
Probably was. And I know some of the crew here that's a little bit younger than us was like, oh my God, who's Missy Elliott?
Right.
And in my mind, she's one of the greats of hip hop. And it was cool. I didn't know she was going to be there because they made a big deal of Lenny Kravitz. They made a big deal of Katy Perry. And I was like, where did Missy Elliott
She just came out of nowhere, right?
Right.
And I think we're all kind of infatuated with her still, really.
Right.
You know?
Right. And I'm glad that she's kind of back on in the public consciousness like that. Because you'd forgotten. And when they started playing that beat, I think all of us were like, oh, that's the Missy Elliott.
She came out of nowhere, right?
Right. And then, of course, the Katy Perry flying around on the star. I mean, that was just beautiful. It was amazing, fun stuff. So
we're all in love with her, honestly, you know?
Yeah.
And also, speaking of love, it's almost time to get married. You guys getting hitched anytime soon?
No.
I am actually. Would you got something in there?
We actually have our bridal issue, too. So we have a bunch of features in this sucker. Great rings that have a local twist to them, right? How to not keep your wedding guests from getting bored. All that good stuff.
All right.
In fact, there's a show coming to town here pretty soon. I don't know if you have any dates lined up, but there's this show called it's Cirque du Soleil, and it's called Verikai. It's, it's basically like going to the circus, right? And it's this huge production. It'll be from, let's see, February 11th to the 15th at Santa Ana Star Center.
Right. I'm typically scared of clowns, but Cirque du Soleil.
Don't worry, these are not your traditional clowns,
right? No clowns.
No clowns. There's plenty of acrobatics.
I want to go see the circus, right?
Actually, you know what? There are clowns. So yeah, but they're a very classy act, and they'll make you laugh. I promise.
Was there one takeaway from the bridal guy that he can use for his wedding planning? What's the one thing
I already have a ring,
needs
so I don't care about your rings.
You got the
Beautiful
rings, right?
And
he's got the girl, too.
Got the girl and the ring. I did the ring first, and then I went out and found some girl, but she's way better than me, so thankfully she said yes. Yeah.
Great, good. Congratulations, by the way. So I'm thinking, when it comes time for your actual wedding, how serious of a drinker are you? Do you like the really craft cocktails?
I'm a craft. We could talk for a long time about my craft cocktails.
Awesome.
We don't have time in the morning.
We're going to come back in just a couple of seconds here with our buddy Kurt Fletcher, one of my old friends and one of the handful of comedians from Albuquerque who lives in Albuquerque, who goes on tour and makes his whole living as a professional comedian. There aren't many of those people in town. And just a couple of seconds on the Morning Brew with Friends.